What? Ve Gardena in Yardago. Does that sound like English? Actually, no. It sounds like a magic spell from Harry Potter, doesn't it? But believe it or not, that was English, the original English. Welcome to Timeline. I'm Zarnigor Srojva, your time travel guide. Most students think literature history is just memorizing dead people's birthdays. Boring, useless. Why should you care about poems from 1,000 years ago? Because every movie you watch on Netflix today and every song lyric on your phone comes from ancient roots. You want to understand Game of Thrones? You need the Anglo-Saxons. You want to write a bestseller? You must know the patterns of the past. Today, we crack the code of periodization. How did we get here? Literature isn't just text. It is the psychological DNA of humanity. Our roadmap is Buenos Aires, World Literature and Global Encyclopedias. No confusion, no dates without context, just the epic story of survival. By the end of this video, you will see history differently. Are you ready to decode the past? Let's dive in. First, let's define periodization. That sounds very academic, right? Imagine your own life. You have childhood, high school, and university. You were a different person in high school than you are now. Literature is the same. It grows, it changes style, it matures. Periodization is just a way of grouping these life stages of history. We divide English literature into roughly 8 major seasons, or we can call it periods. Today, we focus on season 1, the Old English period. This era spans from roughly 450 AD to the year 1066. Picture this scene right now. This year is 450. The Romans have just abandoned British Isles. Britain is defenseless. Then 3 Germanic tribes arrive by boat: Angles, Saxons, and Jutes. They didn't come to write poetry. They came to fight and conquer. They brought a harsh, guttural language called Anglis. There were no romantic love stories then. Life was brutal and short. Imagine sitting around a fire and dark woods behind you, listening to a hero's tale. Literature wasn't written down on paper yet, it was oral tradition. The poet or scop was the most important person after the king. Why? Because he held a collective memory and history of the tribe. This brings us to the superstar of this era, Beowulf. It teaches loyalty. Beowulf isn't just a monster story, it's a manual for kings. It teaches loyalty, bravery, and the inevitability of death. In Old English, they call it fate word. You can't escape it. You can't escape it. But the literature wasn't only about monsters and fighting. Christians monks began arriving. They brought alphabet and Latin, and two worlds collided. The pagan warrior culture and the Christian peace. This clash created a unique flavor in Old English texts. But this is the season 1 came to violent sudden end in 1066. 1066, everything has changed. The Battle of Hastings, 2 world flips upside down. William the Conqueror invades from France, and the Anglo-Saxons lose. Overnight, English becomes the language of peasants. The kings and elites, they speak French for 300 years. This is why we have cow in English and beef, French. The peasant raises the cow, the French lord eats the beef. But slowly, the languages mix it together like a giant smoothie. This mixture gives birth gives birth to season 2, Middle English Literature. Grammar gets simpler, the vocabulary gets huge. The hero of this age, of course, Geoffrey Chaucer, the father of poetry. His Canterbury Tales proved English could be artistic again. It was funny, dirty, holy, and real, just like our life. But history never stops. We move to 1500, the Renaissance. The season 3 is called Renaissance, rebirth of knowledge. The printing press arrives, books are suddenly everywhere. They are cheap. And one man defines English language forever. William Shakespeare. He invented over 1,700 English words that we still use, from lonely to gossip. He engineered the modern mind. After him came the age of enlightenment, reason, logic, and science. Then romantics, who hated logic and loved emotion. Do you see the pendulum swinging? Logic, then emotion. Now, I want to challenge you. Let's pause everything. Here is the question. If France never invaded in 1066, would you be able to read this text right now? You have 5 seconds. Pause this video and think. Time's up. The answer is probably not. English would sound much more like German or Dutch today. That invasion forced the language to evolve and simplify. Now, memorizing periods is hard. Let's hack your brain. We will group all of history just into 3 big stages. Stage 1, the roots. This is Old and Middle English. Keywords, oral tradition, manuscripts, God, and warriors. Okay, now stage 2, the body. It starts from 1500 and ends with 1800. Stage 2, the body, Renaissance to Enlightenment. The keywords, printing press, Shakespeare, reason, and science. This is where the language standardized and became powerful. And our last stage, the modern mind. Stage 3, the modern mind, romantics to today. Keywords, emotion, industry, psychology, and of course, technology. Roots, body, mind, that's your roadmap for this course. If you know which stage you are in, you know the context. Now, what do you think? Is English finished changing? Absolutely not. Look at your phone. Lol, rees, ghosting. 1,000 years ago, monks hated new words. They thought egg was a bad slang word from the Vikings. We are living in a new literary period now, the digital era. Text is shorter, faster, and global. Literature is moving from paper books to captions and scripts. But the rules of storytelling, they haven't changed since Beowulf. We still love heroes. We still love heroes, we still fear monsters. The only difference in the monsters are now in Black Mirror. Understanding history gives you the power to predict the future. If you know how the printing press changed the world, you can understand how AI and ChatGPT are changing it now. You are not just studying history, you are living in it. So don't treat this subject as a museum of dead things. Treat it as a toolbox for understanding human psychology. That is the power of the humanities. It makes you smarter. Now, let's lock this knowledge in the 3 golden rules. First rule is the context is king. Never memorize a date without knowing what and why it happened. For example, in 1066 isn't just a number, it's the reason English exists. Rule number 2, language is conflict. English was born from war. Celts, Romans, Saxons, Vikings, French. Every word you speak is a survivor of a harsh battle. Rule number 3, literature is a mirror. Old English showed their fears, modern English shows ours. If you understand the text, you understand the people. Got it? Good. Now, let's stop talking and start doing. Honestly, I don't believe in homework. Homework is boring. And I have a challenge for you. Are you brave enough? Open Boynazar's World Literature to the section on Anglo-Saxons. Find a description of monster Grendel in Beowulf. Compare it to a modern violence like Joker or Tennis. Write just 3 sentences. How are they similar? Prove to me that the monster archetype hasn't changed. Next week, things get romantic and tragic. We will meet the man who invented love poetry, and we will see why chivalry was actually quite dangerous. I'm Zarnigor Srojeva. This is History of English Literature. Don't just read the history, make history.